Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever time it is that you happen to be tuning into It's Naturally Not. How are you today? I hope you're doing great. I'm doing pretty doggone good. It's hot in here. It's not hot outside, so you can tell that I've been busy if I'm saying that it's hot in here. Actually, I've had the oven on today. I've been doing some cooking projects. But today I'm going to show you a delicious appetizer. Okay, it's that time of year. It's officially May, so you know what that means. When May and June come about, I like my happy hours, and I like them to be delicious, right? Whether they're mocktails or cocktails, having some friends over, I like having the perfect snack, right? Last summer I showed you how to make several dips, right? And what else did we do? I can't remember right offhand. But what I'm going to show you how to make today is a cheese cracker. And in the near future, I'm going to show you how to make another kind of cheese cracker from a very old recipe called a cheese crispy. Okay, but today's a cheese cracker. Now, I didn't invent this, but I remember many years ago I was at a function at a place I used to work, and one of the librarians, it was when I worked at the library, made this cheese cookie cracker thing that was spectacular at the function, and I like shamelessly stood in front of the table and ate several of them, and then had to track her down and get the recipe. And then many years passed, and I tried using the recipe, but it never kind of came out quite the same as what she made. So, well, I was sad until I saw Ina Garten make something very similar. And that's what we're going to make today, her version of the cheese cracker. Now by cracker, erase from your mind commercial crackers, okay? Like Ritz or Triscuits or any of those, because these aren't like that. These are, well, they're a cracker you don't put anything on because they're so savory and rich and delicious, you just eat as a snack. And you don't eat many of them because they're really rich, right? Today's is a cheese chipotle cracker, but you could use other seasonings. You could use a taco seasoning and make it a cheese taco cracker, snack cracker, or you could just use garlic. That would be good. Powdered garlic would be good. Maybe even some cheese in the batter. You make a batter, and then, unlike this other cheese crispy cookie I'm going to show you this summer, this one you don't bake off like cookies. You simply roll it into a long roll, slice it and bake it, or what I do, keep it in your freezer, but I'm almost out, so I need to make a new batch with you guys. Then when you have friends come over, you take it out, you put it on the counter for 5 minutes so it thaws a little bit, then you use a good sharp knife and you cut off the slabs that you want. You can put them in the air fryer, although I haven't done that. That would probably be really fast. But then you bake, what I do is I just bake them in the oven for 20 minutes in a 350 oven, and they're so good. And I made these for my sister and brother-in-law when they came at Thanksgiving, and they're still good. The tube that's frozen, but I only have about that much of the tube, so we're making more today. Okay, so what we're going to need is, you're going to need one of those packages of, they're like 8 ounce, so that's a half a pound, of a sharp cheddar. And Ina says in her notes, she used a particular kind of, I'd never heard of it, and I don't live on the East Coast, so there's very little chance that I would find it. But I did, for Christmas, get this wonderfully, really aged English cheddar as a Christmas present. And I love these aged cheddars because they stay in the fridge for a long time and they don't get moldy. I don't know if that's because they're aged and dried. And this one's smoked, so maybe the smoke has something to do with it. The brand I used is just oak smoked. I don't see the name of the brand, but that's what this lighter cheddar is here. But I've also used the cheap cheddar, you know what kind I'm talking about, that's only like $2.50 for half a pound, like this, and only this, and it's still really good. So half a pound, 8 ounces of that shredded up. Do not use the stuff in the bag. It won't work because it won't melt right, because it's got cellulose on it, right, to keep it from sticking, so you don't want to use that. Then what I got here is a cup and, is it 2 tablespoons? A cup and 2 tablespoons of flour. And I just had, ooh, there's a little piece of cheese for the girls. Go get it. That's just some seasoning I clapped off my hands when I was measuring this out, which is this is kosher salt, and this is, what is this? A teaspoon. And then I have a teaspoon of chipotle powder. And I think you could vary this with other seasonings. But I like the warmth of the chipotle powder. Then you're going to need a tablespoon and a half of water, a big mixing bowl, and that's what you need. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and a stick of butter. And since I had the oven already warmed because I was baking stuff in there, I just set the butter like this on top of the stove on a warmish area, and it warmed it because you know me, I never have my butter and my eggs warm like all the great cooks. I always got to do a trick because I forget, and then I got to warm it up in hot water or whatnot. So you're gonna want to. Now Ina says use a paddle attachment, but if you're old school like me, or you just don't have lots of different equipment, this works fine. And you just essentially, what we're going to do is we're going to dump everything together, right? Everything together in here. I'm going to go ahead and put the cheese in. I'm going to mix it up kind of with my hands so that I don't get all of the really old aged, the wonderful smoke aged cheddar stuck in one area. I want it kind of dispersed evenly throughout. So that's what I'm doing here with my hands, and that's pretty well nicely mixed. I'm gonna just give it a little zoom with the butter right now. Well, should I do it with butter? Ina says to do it all once, so maybe we better do it that way too. It's been a while. Like I said, I haven't made these since last November, before Thanksgiving, when my sister and brother-in-law came. If I sound like I got a little bit of a cold, I do have a little bit of a cold, which is crazy because I don't normally get colds, but I feel great. I didn't feel great the first day of the cold, but I feel pretty good now. Go ahead and add the salt, the kosher salt, and then the butter, or the water. And the water is just cold out of the faucet. It's not, doesn't need to necessarily be warm. We'll go ahead and give this a good mix. You'll want to mix this 30 seconds to close to a minute, just so everything kind of clumps together in big clumps. You know, kind of like how cookie does that when you know it's just about ready to be mixed or to be plopped onto the pan. Well, we're getting there. Oh, it smells so good. I can smell the chipotle, and it smells marvelous. See how it's kind of coming together? That's what you want. Then, what you'll want to do is get your junk out of the way, and you need a lightly floured board, but I got this marble top, so I'm pretty good. I don't think I need any flour. And we're going to just kind of use our hands and massage this and manipulate this into about a 12-inch long log, if you will. Like you were making a holiday cheese ball log. Right? If you don't make the traditional round ones, maybe you make the log type ones. Okay? And I think too, if it feels a little dry while you're doing this, you could probably sprinkle on a teaspoon of water to get it so it would not be so dry that you can manipulate it. But I'll go ahead and move this so you can see what I'm talking about. But I think this is coming together, except for I'm being kind of messy here. This is coming together pretty good. I'm not going to bake off to any of these today. I'm just kind of restocking my stash for the summer and having this log, if you will, in my freezer so I can have cocktails. I'm going to have a friend over, I think next Friday, and I got a surprise for you coming up. We're going to have some guests in the kitchen. I'm not going to say who. I'm just going to let you to guess who that might be, right? And I'm going to get my tape measure because I'm not good at guessing at what constitutes a 12-inch log, but I don't think I'm quite there yet. Got the girls here on standby, just hoping and praying for a tiny bit of cheese to flop out on the floor. No. I'm at about 9 inches. So I'm going to roll it, since it is coming together nice. Just roll it out thinner. There we go. And if it breaks, just smush them back together. That's looking more like 12. The warmer the ingredients, the better on this, because the better it holds together. One thing that probably should go without saying is this isn't exactly a diet snack. Right? Let's try measuring that now. That's probably getting a lot closer. Yep, want to get 1 more inch longer. I'll just stretch it out. Kind of like what you do when you're manhandling your ground burger for a meatloaf. You know how you get it in that football shape? That's kind of a similar type of thing that I'm doing here, only smaller and thinner. You can even roll it like this. It seems like the warmer it gets with my hands, the better it stays together. And that makes sense because it's got butter in it. There, let's try measuring it again. Just about perfect. Oh, it smells so good. And we haven't even baked it yet, for crying out loud. Right, in theory, let's say you already were planning on doing this and you were having friends come over in, oh, I don't know, half hour. You could have this mixed, then you could go ahead and cut it, and you'd want to cut each slice about this wide as this tape measure. So what is that, more than 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch, right, or close to that. And then you'd want to lay them out flat like a cookie on a parchment covered cookie sheet. You need the parchment because the cheese might get a little sticky, right? And then you could just cut this whole thing up and serve them for your friends, right? And they will be blown away, and you will have not one cheese cookie cracker left. Trust me, you will not have one. But what I'm going to do now, let's check it again. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half. Because like I said, this is going in my stash in the freezer. Get yourself some, if you're going to stash it, that is. If you're not going to stash it and you're going to eat it right away, then by golly, start cutting it and getting it ready on the cookie sheet. But if you're going to stash this, which I'm going to do, then you just want to wrap it up nice with the saran wrap. Get in there. I'm going to get my warm hand. I don't know why I'm so warm. It's not warm outside at all. I think it's because I just had the oven on all afternoon. And I got a big sweatshirt on. There's one guy. You can even give it a nice little tight roll again with your hands like that. And then go ahead and get another. That looks so pretty. Actually, I'm going to show you up close. Doesn't that look pretty? I like the way the 2 different cheddars, the fancy gift cheddar that I got, the dry, the aged smoked cheddar looks pretty up against the good old-fashioned plain sharp cheddar, right? You can see the specks too of, I'm going to get a Ziploc. You can see the specks of the chipotle. I'll bet you could do a aged white cheddar, smoked white cheddar like mine, only as the cheddar, and then have the seasoning be black pepper. Doesn't that sound good? That would be fancy schmancy. I think that sounds really good. I might try that this summer, because you can't have too many of these. Okay, I'm going to label it, although I doggone know exactly where it's going to be in my freezer and what it is. Now when you bake them, you want them to be just a tiny bit brown on top. In fact, the magic of television, as they say when they do this on shows like The Kitchen, I happen to have some already done that I did earlier when I had the oven on. That's what these look like when they are done. And I baked these about an hour ago, and they smell heavenly. So you want it to get just a little flicks of color, just a little. You don't want to go too far. You don't want to dry these out, right? And I would say depending on how hungry your guests are, or if it's you and you know you're pretty hungry, 2 or 3 a piece, easy. In fact, it's gonna take an act of God to keep me from eating all 5 of these. So I'll probably put 2 immediately in a plastic Ziploc and put it in my other refrigerator, so I don't eat all these. But I do have to show you on camera how delicious these are. Mmm. This would be really good with a martini, dirty martini with olives. Mmm. If you could see my little girls, my little doggies, they know this is good because they know that noise when I go, mmm. They know this is spectacular. But make these, they don't take a long time. They will impress your guests. They're kind of like the modern take on the cheese puff, right? Cheese puffs are kind of like a lot of work. You saw how much work this was. In theory, these would already be in the oven. Only, like I said, I'm going to freeze those. Super easy. They'd also go with, mocktails. They'd be great in some sort of 7-Up spritzer with fruit out on your patio with your friends. That'd be great too. I think they'd be fine with just about anything, any kind of drink. But as your pre-dinner snack or your happy hour snack, which is how I'm going to use them. I'll have the recipe down below like I always do. And if you could hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate it, and subscribe, right? I saw I had a lot of viewers last month, but I didn't get, in the last 2 weeks, any new subscribers. So people are viewing, but they're not subscribing. So please subscribe. That helps my channel. And wherever you're at, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Be kind to yourself and be kind to others. And I shall see you next Sunday. All right, bye-bye.